Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Everyday Alchemist podcast, a podcast where we remind you to tap into the alchemist inside of you, because we all are powerful beings and we all have the ability to create a dream life for ourselves. Despite our challenges, we are so powerful. Today, we have a guest who has done just that. She has managed to prove the doctors wrong, despite them telling her that she will never conceive. She is a mother of two. Not only did she prove the medical system wrong, but she also used this adversity to dive deep into the world of health and become a natural health practitioner, a life transformational specialist, a wellness activator, and also a certified WILDFIT head coach and master coach. Kerry has not just helped herself, but she has helped so many of her clients get their health and wellness back. Kerry has just recently returned from a Mindvalley conference where she was a speaker and also voted one of the top speakers. So, Kerry, welcome. Welcome. I'm so happy you're here.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes.
I have had the pleasure to meet you a few times in person, and you've just got such a nice, beautiful energy. And I knew the first time I met you that I was going to have you on my podcast. So thank you for being this person and having this beautiful energy, because we all need it. The world needs it so much.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you so much. I know we spoke about this ages ago, so it's here today. I'm so excited.
I know. Divine timing, right?
Yes. Yes.
So Kerry, your story is really, really fascinating. Like I mentioned, you were given the diagnosis that you will never be able to conceive. I love miracle stories. I'm all about miracles. So are you able, I know a little bit about your story. Can you take us down the journey and tell us what happened, and then how did this miracle unfold for you, please?
Yeah. So it really was in my late 20s, and that clock was ticking. People go, no, it's all right. There's no biological clock. Well, I think there was a biological clock, it was ticking. And the thing is, I came from a beautiful big family. My father was one of 9. My mother was one of 6. I have 38 first cousins.
Oh, wow.
Yes. And so with growing up, we were all in the same area. We all went to the same schools. It was like we got together on birthdays, anniversaries, Christmas, Boxing Day, New Year's Day. I mean, you name it, we got together as a family. And for me, it was the most wonderful experience, because I got to learn from cousins and aunts and uncles and grandparents. And, it's going back to being raised by a tribe, being raised by a village. There were so many people that influenced my life, and I had a really positive, upbringing. So I wanted the same. I really did. I thought, well, one day I'm going to have a tribe of my own. I'm going to be able to, create my own family. And so I, dived down the route of trying to fall pregnant, and it didn't happen, and it didn't happen, and it didn't happen. And I was getting so despondent, month after month, you test and you try, and you go through all of this, and it was just always no, negative. And eventually, I did all the tests. I went to all the medical specialists. I actually went to 2 in particular that specialized in issues. And both of them said to me, there's no ways. There is so much going on with you. I did have polycystic ovary syndrome. I did have an inverted uterus. I had twisted tubes. So I had a lot of physical stuff going on that wasn't allowing me even to have a menstrual cycle. I would go months, and if not, I think the one time the longest was about 18 months without a menstrual cycle, and then it would show up and it would go away. And so it was kind of like all over for me. And so when the 2 specialists said to me, because I always get a second opinion, by the way, no, I never just do one.
Yeah.
So when the second one did, and obviously you go through all the tests and everything, so it was quite a endeavor to do all of it. And then I just remember I was just like sobbing, and you go through, you watch these families and you go, well, why me? Why me? And I did lose my faith. I really did. It was like, I'm supposed to be in the prime of my life. I'm supposed to be all happy. These things are supposed to happen if you want them to. And infertility for me back then, first of all, it was hugely expensive. And back then, and I'm going back, nearly 30 years, there was zero guarantee. Like zero. I think they have fine-tuned it quite a lot since then, but it was just something that was so new, and there was no guarantee. And I just thought, if the medical side has actually said no, then I don't want to spend more money on the medical side because there might be more no's. So I decided to dive into the natural side. And when I started going down the natural route, I realized really quickly, well, actually, it's not just physical. It's physical, it's mental, it's emotional. It was my spirituality. It was my whole environment that I was around. And so the wellness for me was actually trying to get everything back into balance, which was quite a mean feat, knowing that I had so much to shift and change in my life because of where I was. So it took me 4 years, 4 years. And 4 years later, I was with a friend and she happened to be doing some reflexology on my feet. And she said to me, Kerry, have you done a pregnancy test recently? And I was like, no, I was so disappointed in the past. I don't even want that disappointment anymore. But when I left her place, it was like, oh, well, she must have seen something on my feet because I've known she had. So, oh, okay. So I popped into the pharmacy, picked up a home kit, went home, tested, and it said positive. And I was like, oh my gosh. Then I thought, I don't believe it. I went to the hospital. They had a little path lab next to them. I went and got a blood test done. And I went home and I said to my husband, I can't phone for the results. And he said, what are you talking about? He didn't even know what I'd been through. He said, what are you talking about? I said, this is what's happened today. I said, I've had the blood test done. You've got to phone for the results. I can't. I just couldn't face another no, you know.
Fair enough.
So, yeah. So he phoned for the results and it was positive. So I said, no. Just, I don't believe it yet. Like, I really don't believe it. So let's go and make an appointment with the gynae. You know, let's go and get a scan and see what's happening, and we'll go and get the appointment. So we make this appointment. It was a couple of days later, and we go and get this. The gynae says, you know, he starts pushing and prodding my stomach, and he goes, have you not been taking your folic acid? And have you not been taking this? I said, are you telling me I'm pregnant? Like, what are you saying? Because I was taking nothing, like no supplements, no nothing. And then he eventually said, come, let's go for a scan. And he put the little monitor on me, and immediately there was a heartbeat. And
wow.
I burst out crying. I just burst out crying because then it was all this realization of years of working on me, years of trying to put my body back into balance. And it was so worth it. It was so worth it because there was times where you go through and you're going, really? Am I really actually doing, what am I doing? You know, I'm eating this and I'm saying no to that and I've changed this and I'm like, is it, you know, and I'm going, yes, it took 4 years, but in that moment, everything was worth it. Like everything was worth it. So we actually, because I never had a menstrual cycle, because I was actually turned my life around, I was pretty fit, I was eating a raw, you know, diet. It was like everything was really going well. And I was doing a lot of running. And the one race, I was just a little bit tired in it, but I didn't think too much. But what I didn't realize is that appointment with the gynae, I was already 12 weeks pregnant.
Oh, wow. Oh, my God. So that's your first trimester gone.
First trimester was gone. All the worry about whether you were going to keep it or not was gone.
Wow.
I jumped through all of that. And it was like, oh my gosh, there's a whole baby in me. And now we just celebrate. And now we celebrate because it really was, for me, that was a huge, huge miracle. And we just absolutely celebrated. And so yes, when you start going down the natural route, for me, it was like, this is working. So what I want to do is I want a midwife. I want to have the baby at home. I want a water birth. You know, I want the candles and the music on, and I just want to dive into this miracle and just immerse myself in just, you know, being so clear that because everything had worked, everything is going to work out. And I think the clarity of mind for me was so powerful in the birthing process because, you know, my son arrived. He arrived 3 weeks early. So for me, it was the shortest shortest pregnancy ever. But he arrived perfect, and the water birth was just absolutely amazing. And he actually decided to arrive at 10:30 on New Year's Eve.
Oh,
so
wow.
yeah, fireworks were going off. So it was like the whole
It was
world
a real celebration.
me. was
Oh,
so awesome. So that was my miracle number one, and I was happy. I was happy, happy, happy. And
mm,
I breastfed him for 14 months. And then on the 14 months, when I decided, to stop breastfeeding, I had a really strange menstrual cycle. And so it was like, I actually don't even know what is going on here. You know, I'm not sure what my body is doing, but let me go and check out with the gynae. So I went back to, by this time, I changed gynaes, by the way, because
yeah,
like you got to find somebody who works with you.
absolutely.
So went to this different specialist, and he did an examination. He goes, "Oh, you're actually having a miscarriage." I said, "I didn't even know I was pregnant." He says, "But you've kept one." I said, "What are you telling me that I've got another baby?" And he says, "Yes." And naturally, I had fallen pregnant with twins, but I had miscarried the one at 10, I was 10 weeks. I was 10 weeks pregnant with my daughter. And so for me, it was just like, well, let's celebrate again, because
Yeah.
it is incredible that I'm going through this. And yes, so my son arrived 14 months later. My daughter was on her way, and she arrived absolutely same thing, water birth at home, very calm, very beautiful. And today they are 23 and 21. So it was a long time ago, but for me, they've been my miracles all along, and we've done natural all along, their whole life, as much as possible. Yeah.
That is amazing. That just gave me goosebumps. It's amazing. I love hearing that because I know there are so many couples facing this at the moment that cannot conceive and they have gone down so many realms. And I absolutely love the fact that you went all natural.
Yes.
Can you share maybe some of the stuff that you did do? Like you said running and eating raw food, but could you
Yes.
maybe dive deep into this so people listening, they could, try some of these things
Yeah.
as well because you've got two children now.
I know, and I feel so blessed, so, so blessed. So yes, the first thing I did was I did nutritional changes, because I knew that I was eating a lot of dead food. Like, you put dead food into a living body, it just doesn't work. So I had to change and put living food. I didn't ultimately go raw immediately. I definitely still had meat and chicken, but then I did change for a while and only had raw. And then I went back and introduced a little bit of cooked, a little bit of proteins. But ultimately, over quite a long period of time, it must have been at least 2 years of just going between raw and slightly cooked, raw and slightly cooked. And so I flushed out so many toxins. I
Mm,
released 18 kilograms. I
wow.
was, yes, I was, you know, I was in my 20s, and I was having fun, and I didn't realize that actually the toxic foods were just piling themselves on me. So in the process of eating cleanly, I released the weight. And so that's when I started my running, because I felt like I had my energy in my body. And so I started running, and I felt that my running was my meditation.
Mm,
As I used to run, I used to just get into a zone, and I would get into the zone, and I would be with me and God. And it brought my
mm,
faith back, because I had lost it, and I wasn't sure what to believe in. I was brought up Catholic. And then in my early 20s, I really went and dived into all different religions. And I was trying to find a religion that really worked for me, or a belief system that worked for me. And I couldn't find it. I couldn't find it. And so then I thought, well, I was brought up Catholic, having to talk to Jesus, and I'm going, well, I'm going straight to God. I said, I need the main man, I need the main woman, whoever it is. Like, I need source, I needed that. And so my prayers were like, straight to God. And then I did go and dived into a lot of personal development work, because this was me putting my emotions back into balance, putting my mindset back into balance, and forgiving the part of me that I needed to forgive, working through, traumas and things that had happened, in my past, that I needed to work through. So there was definitely a lot of diving into shadow work, dark areas. But it's like, when you shine the light on it, it's like they just disappear. They just disappear. So stories I had told myself were actually so incorrect, like so incorrect. And one of the stories is I felt like I had a bit of an issue with men in my life because I thought my brother had tried to kill me through my life. We grew up in a beautiful, as I've explained, just this absolutely beautiful family. But he held my head under water in our swimming pool until I thought I was taking my last breath. He is 6'5", and so much bigger than me. And he threw me off. Now I lived in South Africa. He threw me off this 2-meter wall into bush full of snakes. He pushed me into a cactus where my mom had to pick out these cacti out of my thighs and my backside. He would walk past in the passage and just punch me. So I had made up the story. My brother's trying to kill me. I need to seek the approval of him. I need to be worthy. All of these things I was telling myself. So when I started diving into the personal development work, I went and I approached him. Now, by this time, like he's 30 years old, he's not a teenager or he's not a youngster anymore. He's like 30 years old. And I've said it straight out. I said, I just feel like there's so much that I need to heal between us. I said, why did you try and kill me? Why don't you love me? And he goes, what are you talking about? He says, I love you. I said, well, that's a very strange way to show it. So he said, Kerry, you were the brother I never had. He said, you were the tomboy. You always played with the boys. So I treated you like a boy. I would have treated a brother exactly like I treated you. So I would have played in the swimming pool with a brother. I would have punched a brother. I would have, fallen on the ground. I would have done these things, which you do see boys do. They play differently. But in my head, I'd made up a story. So I realized part of my healing was telling myself different stories about my own life, about the way I had reacted to others. And sometimes I really feel like you don't even have to be in the presence of another person in order to do that healing work. They could have been gone and passed on or traveled countries, but you just do the work yourself. You do the work yourself. So that was part of the healing. And then I also went on a silent retreat because one of the things that I had to learn was to be in my own company and love me. And that was the most difficult, for me, the most difficult thing that I had to do was actually spend time with me. Because I was the one that would put all the parties together and have all the gatherings and make sure everybody was around and invite everybody to my house. And so I discovered that was all distractions. That was distraction from who I truly was. Because I actually didn't want to face who I truly was until I did. And then I learned to love her. And it's magnificent. So a lot of the inner work had to be done. A lot of clearing toxins had to be done. A lot of getting rid of the dead food that I was bringing into my body that was pulling my energy down had been done. And this is why the programs that I offer, mainly women, I mainly coach women. The programs that I offer are totally holistic. They look at all of the wellness areas, not just one. Not just one. Because I truly believe if you're just looking physical and you just do nutrition, then your emotional side is probably going to suffer. If you just do mindset and you just think positively, well, that's okay until it starts hitting the physical side. If you don't dive into the spiritual side of things and find out who you truly are and really get into your soul, I say to my clients, it's so beautiful because I just had a coaching call this morning with a bunch of clients, and I said to them, I can tell you all the actions that you can take, and I can give you the information. And so if you think about it, the information coming into your physical body is just beautiful because your body loves it. Your body loves the information, but your soul loves the action. So when you start taking the action on the information, that's where transformation happens. That's where it is, when you connect the soul and the body together, when you actually connect all the areas of wellness together. Magic and miracles happen.
I love that, Kerry, because I've done something very similar where we are made up of layers. So you have to go and look at your mental, your physical, your spiritual, deep dive into your shadow work as well. I've had to do that as well, and I absolutely love it. And I feel like there are women out there, they pour and pour and pour into other people, yet they can't even look in the mirror and say, I love you. You know, I did that at the beginning of, I'm actually getting goosebumps as I say it, because I was kind of forced into this journey, as you know, with Nishaya. And I had to do everything. It's almost like I had to take the role of being Nishaya so I could heal myself, and through me, Nishaya could get healed. So one of the very first things I did was, and if you talk to a lot of people that go through this kind of journey, Louise Hay comes to mind, right? So her books have immensely helped me. And the first thing I was told was that I needed to love myself before I could love anyone, because if you can't love yourself, then you really can't pour from a place of really giving. So I remember when I looked in the mirror for the very first time, oh my God, I just had tears coming down. I couldn't say it. And I didn't know. It is.
I couldn't say it. I couldn't say it.
Isn't it crazy? Like, we pour into everyone else, but the person that we should be telling, like, it was the hardest thing I've done probably to this day. Now I'm getting better at it. I'm still in this, development world, and I know the importance of it. And I'm probably like 90% better than, but, I do have my days, because we obviously, we fluctuate as human beings. But that is so powerful what you said, because I feel like women, and forgiveness as well. That was a huge part of it as well. Having to forgive people, not going up to them and telling them, I forgive you, but forgiving them for myself. As children, we take on a lot. So can you talk a little bit about forgiveness? You've given me so many directions to go with, but I feel like forgiveness is a big topic.
Yeah, it is. And a lot of people see it as, if you forgive, then you are not holding them accountable for what they've done. And that's not what it's about. That's not what it's about. What it is about is, when you forgive them, you're releasing you from the tie you have to them. Because as long as you keep them thinking that they've done this, you keep that emotional tie there. The minute you can say, actually, you know what they did, I learned a lesson from it. I survived it. I got stronger because of it. I've got more courage because of it. I've been able to stand up in my power because of it. And the minute you can do that and really, really feel it in your soul, like, I do forgive them, because they were here as a soul to teach me a lesson. They were here as a soul for me to learn from them. And so the minute you forgive, boom, that cord is cut. The cord is cut, and energetically, you're not in their energy anymore. And it frees you. It really frees you. And that's what it's all about. Forgiveness is about you getting free, not about not holding them accountable. They can be held accountable somewhere else. They can be held accountable besides you forgiving them, But it is about, yes, you taking that action, really taking that action and feeling into, because this is where my spiritual side goes as well. If I think about the human being doesn't acknowledge that possibly the souls had a contract. Like, I'm going to come down and I'm going to experience this. And in order to experience this, you have to do this to me. So actually, let's go do it on earth. Let's go and actually experience this, because I believe earth is a place to experience. It's a place to feel the feelings, to actually experience a body, to really do things that you can't do in any other realm. So we come here, we want to experience something, but sometimes people have got to be tough with us. People are getting harsh with us. People are going to say things that we're not going to enjoy. And that's okay. Because when we look at it at soul level, it's like, thank you for doing that. Thank you that we were able to do this journey. Thank you that I was able to learn it. Because now I can move on. Now I can move further up my level and further up where I need to do. And possibly now, really being clear from everything, start attracting what I really love in my life. Because I think that was part of my healing that I went through, is I know we are electromagnetic beings. We are full of energy. We are absolutely full of energy. So when we are clearer, clear from toxins, clear from toxic thoughts, clear from toxic people. When we are clear, our vibration and our energy can attract all the good stuff, all the good stuff. And I truly, because I've said this to you before, I truly, truly believe that we can heal. We can heal. There are miracles happening all the time within ourselves. Our cells are creating miracles all the time. And so we can heal and we can attract whatever life we want, whatever life we want. So we got to do that. Why would we not want to do that? Which means we've got to do some of the hard stuff. We've got to do the forgiveness. We've got to get through some of the trials and the tribulations and the tough times. And when you're standing in it, it's like, wow, we're going through this. Like, I remember that. I remember standing in and going, why am I experiencing this? Because I'll tell you a little bit more about what happened around that time when I was told I couldn't have children. At the same time, my sister had a baby and she made me the godmother. And it was like, yay, I've got a baby. This is going to be my child, because now I've been told, like, I can't have kids. This little baby was 18 months old. I had seen her every day of her life. And my sister decided to immigrate to the UK.
Oh, no.
So she took my baby away. And it was like my world came crashing down again, And it was just like, wow. I remember my brother had to carry me out of the airport because I couldn't walk. That's how attached I was to this little girl. We have the most amazing relationship. She is 28 years old and she lives in Florida, and her and I message each other all the time. So the bond that I created from those early days is absolutely beautiful. But, when you go through that, you go, why me? Like, why me? Like, I thought, okay, I'm not going to have children, but I've got one here. Oh, and then that gets taken away. But I still wasn't in the space of healed, which means I still couldn't attract my little miracles to me, or any little miracles to me. I couldn't attract a godchild. I couldn't attract keeping on to a child, because I hadn't truly healed everything. And so when you really go through and you heal everything, that's when you start attracting all the miracles, and they really start coming.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. So I know you are big on cellular frequency, and we just sort of touched on that now about cells, how cells actually hold memories as well. And, our environment plays such a big, important part of it, whether it be food, toxic people, things that we expose ourselves to. Like, my husband gets really tired of me. He's getting better now, because I'm like, can't watch that. No, don't use that word, because I'm so aware of it. I know how words are high vibrational, low vibrational. And that was one of the very first things I learned as well, because I went on this personal journey, and I was like, okay, if we want Nishaya to heal, we need to heal our environment first. So can you talk a little bit about cellular frequency and how it actually affects our life?
Yeah, it's actually such a big topic, but it's such an amazing, amazing thing when you really get to understand it. Because at the core of who we truly are, all we are is energy. That's all. We are energy. We are light, and we're energy. We are energetic beings. So we are energy made up of all these energetic cells, and all these cells are bouncing off each other, and they're moving, and without us even knowing it. Without us even thinking about it, we've got like 70 trillion cells moving around our body, and we have these stem cells in our body. I absolutely adore the stem cells, because the stem cells give us an indication of what is really shouting the loudest in our body, what needs the deepest healing. So when I do my assessments, I can see what's happening, because it's all frequency based, it's all energy. So I work with energy tools and a brilliant software program. And so when I can see where the stem cells are going to do the healing, it's like, we need to help those stem cells, because if you cut yourself, these little stem cells are going to rush, they're going to stop the bleeding, they're going to heal the tissue. If you break a bone, the stem cells are going to rush there, they're going to heal the bone. So the stem cells turn into all these different cells in our body. But if our stem cells have got toxins in them, we're not going to be able to do the healing. If our organs have got toxins, if our tissues have got toxins in them, it's all depleting the energy. It all is bringing us down, and that's the aging process. So as we age, we live in a world full of toxins. We're just bringing in more and more toxins, and then we start eating more and more, processed foods. And eventually, I mean, our bodies are really resilient, by the way. They are. When I see what some people are eating and they're still standing, I'm going, oh my gosh, I don't know how you're still standing with that dead food in you. But our bodies are incredible. So it takes a while. It takes a while for our bodies to respond to a symptom. But what's actually happening? Slowly but surely, you're depleting the energy of the cells. You're affecting your cellular energy. And so when that gets affected by the toxins, by the environment, by the people that you mix with, because remember, you're the average of the 5 people you most hang around with. Yeah. So who you're hanging around with is going to affect your energy. It's going to affect the energy. So you don't have to be nasty to people that you don't want to be with, but you know what? Just mix more with the more people that are like-minded with you. So, and what you want to attract. That's really what it is. So when the cells start getting depleted and we start aging because of it, I come across a lot of people that have aged before their time. Number one, they look it, their skin is dehydrated. When the outside skin is dehydrated, oh my gosh, the skin around your organs is dehydrated because you've got skin around your organs. So they're going to be all wrinkly inside too, like the outside reflects what's happening on the inside. And so we age, with the dehydration, but we also age we start slowing down. And that's because the cells have got toxins in them and they're slowing down. So your energy slows down. I mean, a 2-year-old is bouncing all over the show. I mean, young kids have got so much energy, they're moving everywhere. But if there are toxins in the body is not going to move. It's not going to move. And so we have to remove the toxins in order to increase the energy. And as we increase the energy, we increase the liveliness of our lifestyle. And then we start enjoying life. And then we start having fun. But it's actually to be aware of, okay, so what is tapping in and really drawing my energy down? And what is that? And we can identify that ourselves because, when you start talking about it, most people know what it is. They know. They either know it's the food or it's the alcohol, or like you said, it's the bad language. Bad language pulls your frequency down. Bad news on TV pulls your frequency down. You watch horror movies, pulls your frequency down. You watch comedy shows, ups your frequency. So what are you doing in your life to increase your frequency? We know guilt, fear, anger, frustration lowers your frequency. We know gratitude, happiness, laughter, joy, being authentic increases your frequency. So how do you increase that energy and the frequency of your cells, or what are you doing to actually draw it down? And so it's like looking at your life and your wellness. And when I go through this, I look physical, mental, emotional, environmental, social, spiritual. I have the power of 6. For me, those are the 6 most important areas of our wellness that get depleted by energy, depending on what's happening around us and what we are doing, what action we are taking.
Yeah. I'm glad you said that, because some people wake up in the morning, they do affirmations, and as soon as they step outside the house, what are they doing? They've gone back to being, part of the world where everything's a rat race. They, it's all about competition, jealousy. If someone's doing well, you want to cut them down. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like, yeah, I feel like people need to be reminded, like you said, it is who you hang around with. It is actually what you watch as well. Like, for me, every year in winter, because I find when it starts getting, darker, that's one of my things. When it gets dark, I kind of feel like I need to help myself to brighten myself up. So every year it's a routine for me. It's a ritual. I watch Friends because it makes me laugh.
Oh, cool. I haven't watched.
Yeah, me too. I haven't watched any horror movies over probably 14 years, and the show is 14 years old, because I very quickly came to learn that everything we expose ourselves to, it's going to have an impact on on us. So my husband will be, you know, on Netflix will be like, oh, look, there's this. And I'm like, nope, sorry, no, let's go straight to comedy. So now he's actually, you know, he's learned as well that it's not because I'm trying to be difficult, because I'm actually so aware of our actions, how it actually contributes to our well-being. I wanted to talk to you also about meditation, because I did hear that you meditate as well and you journal, and these are the things that I do as well, and I will often talk about it. But I'd love to hear your opinion and how it actually helped you in your healing journey. So going back to when you couldn't conceive, I did hear somewhere that you were meditating, you were journaling. So could you talk about how that actually helps people as well? It is very basic, but these are the things that actually help you vibrate.
Oh, huge. And I think, you know, when I go back there, I feel like that was my greatest blessing, because I learned so much. I dived into so much and I tried so many things. And I'm going, so, you know, in the tough times, there's always a gift. And the gift
100%.
was for me learning all the tools that I needed in order to have a most magnificent life. And so my spirituality went from nothing to zero. Like I was, you know, really heightened, because I joined a meditation circle. And I thought, I don't know how to meditate. Like, so let me join some people that know how to meditate and let them teach me how to meditate. And that's exactly what happened. So I went every week and I basically taught how to meditate, and then how to really go into the stillness. And then when I felt like, okay, I didn't have to be around the people to do it, I could now do it on my own. Well, then that was taking it to the next level, and was like, yay, I can do this on my own. And then sometimes the mind gets so busy. And you go, how do I quieten this mind? But it doesn't matter, because there's guided meditations. And so for me, it's like, choose a meditation that you feel will work for you to get you going, if you don't know where to start. And it could be a circle of, you know, of meditators, like in person. It could be, you know, an online music just to quieten things, or it could just be you going and plugging into nature.
100%.
Because I truly believe that, and I've always said this, for me, the ocean, which is why I've got ocean, the ocean was my healer. You know, I sat on the rocks on this beach that I used to live near. And I remember sitting on the rocks when I was told all of this news. And that's where my prayer, straight to God, that's where it started. It was like, I looked at the sea and I thought, wow, there's something much bigger than me here. There is something at play here that is much bigger than me. And I'm just like, you know, a tiny little experience within it all. And I learned through that time that actually I'm a really important part of it, because I form one part that joins with another person, that joins with another person, that joins with another person. And all of us connected actually help all of consciousness, actually help everything start being manifested and start being attracted. And so the more of us that meditate and bring this energy around the world about self-healing, healing others, you know, part of my meditation today, I never actually just bring, you know, white light or golden light or whatever color light into me and I keep it there. I send it out to the world.
Yeah.
I send it out to the world. It's just like, let me visualize. And it really is just putting a picture in your head. That's how easy meditation is. Just picture what you want to picture. And, you know, whether you're sitting in nature and picturing it, or whether you're sitting in your bed picturing it, you know, or whether you're sitting in church and doing it. You know, one of my really, really good friends said to me, you know, when I pray, I'm talking to God. But when I meditate, God talks to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a really cool quote. I actually like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you got to do both. You've really got to do both, because it's no good you just talking and then not listening. And it's no good you listening and you're not actually asking any questions. So you've got to ask in order for them to be answered. So you've got to be able to do both. So I have found over the years different times in my life, depending on what I'm moving through, depending on how busy I am, I change my meditations. I really do. And And really, I mean, like I said, when I was running, I felt like that was a meditation because I went into prayer then, and then I went into listening mode. And then, and now I find when I'm in water, so when I'm in the ocean, when I'm in the shower, when I'm in water, I just get amazing messages, like amazing messages. Like I know exactly what I need to do today, or I know exactly who I need to phone, or I know exactly what I need to implement. I get the most incredible messages because I'm open. I'm open and I put myself in quiet positions so that I hear them. Because if you, like you said, if you're busy, 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 and life is busy, 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 and you get up in the morning and you get going to work and you're at work and then you get home and you do whatever and you go to bed again and you start the same thing again, you need
Mm.
to interrupt that pattern. And you need to interrupt that pattern and stay in some type of stillness if you want to redirect your life, if you want different outcomes to what you actually attracting at this stage.
I love what you say about the shower because I was talking to a friend yesterday and she was telling me she's been going through a lot of stuff, taking everyone's emotions in, and she was asking me how to clear. I said, shower. That's
Mm-hmm.
your best friend. When you're in the shower, just imagine all the water coming over you, taking all those emotions out and going down the drain. And she loves being by the beach. So I
Yeah.
said to her, ground yourself in the sand. See yourself, send it away and say, tell the ocean, nature is actually here to help us. And it's so
Absolutely.
funny how, and people do not know this. I actually have a tree in my backyard, and every morning, because it's very easy to get carried away with life, I
Yes.
have found myself, especially this year, I have made a point to wake up before Nishaya. So I actually have an hour, at least hour and a half or 2 hours if I'm really lucky, that I journal, I meditate, I go and
Mm.
stand behind the tree. I hug my tree. That's my friend. I talk to the tree and I send healing to the tree because I
Mm.
know they're healers as well. So that's
Yeah.
the least I can do is send healing to the tree. And I take Nishai in her wheelchair. She can't go right up against it, but I take her hand and I put it on the tree. And I
Mm.
tell her, you're a healer. You're here to heal. So she heals the tree. We send healing to Mother Nature. And then I know she's getting healing as well. So
Mm.
life is so basic. I love that, we are ascending as a planet. We all
Yes.
are ascending, whether people know it or not. I mean, people are, because I do Reiki as well, I have clients and people complain about bodily aches that they never used to have,
Mm.
brain fog. And I know it's got a lot to do with the environment too, but at the same time, because we are being upgraded in our DNA, people are actually experiencing it a lot, and some people worse than others because the more toxic we have, the
Yep.
more work it needs to be done, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so Kerry, could you talk a little bit about how people can actually start to release these toxics,
Yeah.
like the toxins that's inside the body? I know we can do all these other things, but are there specific food or
Yes.
specific actions? Yeah,
Yes. Yeah. So I'm gonna just remind me food and journaling because I
I'm gonna
wanted to
write it
mention journaling. So we'll come back to the food. But so journaling for me has always been a way to express my emotions and I can put it down in paper. So I'm a great one. You got to feel them. You got to feel them. But sometimes you don't even know what you're feeling. Like they
down.
come up and you go, I don't know why I'm crying. And I don't know why I'm feeling, this frustration. And I don't. So I used to write about it, write about it, write about it, write about it, write about my experiences, write about what I'm moving through. And I'll tell you, I think it's because of the energy in the planet this year. You know what I have done?
Mm.
I have taken probably 2 decades of journals and torn them up and
Wow,
burnt them.
what a
And
big release.
it's massive. It's because you know what? I'm not that person anymore. And
Mm.
actually, I don't want anybody to read what was going on then anyway. If my journals get left behind, for my kids to go through, and it's like, that's only one part of my life. And so let me let that go and embrace another part. And I still journal. I'm still, writing things down. But when I write things down, I'm much more now in a massively positive place. And so I don't want to take any of that stuff that I was moaning about, but, really putting it down on paper and getting it out the body was for me, getting it out the body was putting it on paper. I don't want to carry that around with me anymore. So
Mm.
I absolutely released it all and threw so much away and burnt and I mean I have beautiful covered journals, but I was tearing the insides out and, throwing the covers away, recycling the covers. But it was just about, it's time. It's time to step up. It's time to step into the new you. And so it's a beautiful, beautiful exercise if you can. Right, so that you do the brain dump. You can get it out of the brain, which helps get it out of the body. So write it down, but then burn it. Release it, let it go. Let it go. You don't have to carry it with you. And then I want to come to the foods, because foods for me, they either heal or they harm. That's it. So if we are talking about refined sugars for me cut the communication of the nervous system, which means you're not going to get your messages from your gut to the brain. And the gut communicates 3 times more to the brain than what the brain communicates to the gut. Wow. So now you're cutting those messages. You're not getting those messages. You're not communicating, which is why people don't even feel when the dead food is like making them bloated or causing pain and discomfort, or, they've got blockages in the intestine and, they're constipated, but they don't even know what else is going on. It's because the messages haven't been received. And that for me is a big job of the refined sugars. The refined sugars cut that off. Then you talk about natural sugars. Natural sugars come from fruits, are incredible for healing. We were given these brightly colored natural fruits on trees, on bushes, in nature, and some people are scared of them. Some people are going, it's got too much sugar in it, it's not good for me. It's different type of sugar. The body knows exactly what to do with natural sugars, and in fact, there are fruits that take out bacteria and parasites from your gut. So if you're not having fruits, you're not clearing out the bad bacteria. Most people I see, they have an imbalance of their gut microbiome, and they've got too much bad bacteria, because bad bacteria actually feeds off cortisol and adrenaline. So because of the stress that we are actually experiencing in the world today, we are stressed. It's feeding the bad bacteria. It's causing the gut microbiome to go out of balance. And then we're not eating the food that's clearing it out because we're scared of it. Fruit is so important, especially for women's hormones. So important. Women need fruit. They need fruit. We weren't given these beautiful, colorful things on the trees for nothing. They were there to attract us so that we could eat them. That's why they were so beautiful and colorful. They are attractive. And so we saw them and we ate them. That's what our ancestors did. So we need to actually embrace that. I often say to my clients, think about, because when I think about kings and queens, what I learned about the royal family in England. And the royal family in England have had that crown in the family for centuries. For centuries. It's been the same family. It's been the same family. This one was passed down, this one was passed down, this one was passed down. Generation after generation after generation. So then I got thinking, well, how did that family survive when the plagues came around and when all these illnesses came around? It didn't affect the royal family. They still passed the crown down from one generation to the next because they ate the fruit. They ate the fruit. The peasants or the workers ate the grains. They ate the breads. They were making the food that didn't have as much vitamins in it, as much minerals in it. They were trying to fool themselves with a piece of bread instead of having all the fruits. And I do know, if you go back in history, centuries and centuries ago, they would, the royal family would get food from around the world. They would bring it in the ships. They would actually ship in the fruit. So it's quite incredible that actually the fruit and the minerals have been part of making the top families survive and thrive. So it's like, I don't want to be a peasant. I want to eat like royalty. So I want the fruit and I want the good proteins. I really want to have that in my body because I know that is going to heal me and that's going to make my, me thrive. I have I have a range of different clients that come to me from children to 80-year-olds and beyond, and I see that a lot of the kids nowadays have a lot of parasites. Like they do. They've got a lot of parasites in them. And I had this one little boy, and he came to me and he really didn't want to take tablets. He really didn't want to, take any of the things that, because this didn't taste nice. And, you give a remedy and it doesn't taste nice. And so I'm going, well, now we got to do it with food. So what food are you going to eat to get rid of these parasites? So I gave him a list of the different fruits and he said, oh, I like dates. I said, you have dates every day. Now, I'm not talking about a bag of dates every day. I'm talking about 3 dates, a really good amount. I said, you have dates every day. He came back to me after about a month. He goes, can you check? He was 8 years old. He was very sweet. He says, can you check and see if I've got parasites again? So I said, do you think you got rid of them? He says, I've seen them come out in the toilet.
Oh, wow.
After I eat my dates. I was like, oh my gosh. You see, when we start eating the right foods for what our body needs, the body gets rid of the toxins. Doesn't matter what the toxin is. It doesn't matter what it is, it's going to come out. So this little boy happened to be absolutely fascinated by what I do. And so just the fact that I could talk to him about parasites without him going into fear, but rather a fascination about them, and then trying to get them out of his body, and knowing that what he was doing was right and they were coming out, he was just all in that, like, they're coming out, I'm getting rid of them, I'm getting rid of them. And it's just so awesome. We can do it with food. We can do it with food.
That's amazing. And good on the parents. I mean, he's 8 years old, starting so young. Imagine how life is going to get better and better for him with that kind of knowledge. You can't buy this kind of knowledge. That's why I actually took Nishaya to you, and we did the whole body scan, and we came across a lot of things as well. And I've got my Rife machine here, that Rife machine, and this is an energetic machine. I love it. So I will leave a link as well, because if people are curious to know what it is, they can contact you and you can talk about it. But I do have a couple of questions. So I know when we came to your meditation, when you guys did the abundance workshop, Nick and I were there, and Kamel was there as well. I do remember you talking about wild blueberries, how the naked wild blueberries, how they are 2 times the antioxidants of the normal blueberries, and they are superfood. So since then we've adapted it, and every day Nisha is having it in our shakes, or a handful, I'll mash it with a fork. So it is just slight, small changes that have a big impact. My question was, when you go out to buy fruits, are you buying organic fruits? Because, you do hear about fruits being manipulated now by big companies. So I'm just wondering, is it really important to buy organic fruits, or are we okay still and we wash it with baking soda and stuff? Because that's what I'm doing. So this is more for me. I want to know the answer.
Yeah. So I'm actually okay with washing the fruit, really washing the fruit. But I think what we've got to watch out for is, where is the fruit coming from?
Right.
Because I would much prefer to buy local, or as close as possible, like Australia. So if I've got fruit coming in from Australia, I'll buy that fruit, no problem at all. If it's actually coming in from a couple of the islands that are close by, I'll buy that fruit, no problem at all. If it's apples coming in from America, know that they were picked off the tree a year ago. Yeah.
Wow.
Because that's the process that they've been through. So the additional chemicals that are used in that process is just, it's too much. And when you think about it, and this is something I had to learn because I immigrated to New Zealand. So I am African. I was brought up in Africa, and the African food worked for my body when I was living in Africa. When somebody immigrates to another country, it takes 5 years for my cells to readjust to the foods of this country. And then I have to eat local in order to get the most benefit. So the foods that grow in the country are the best foods for us. And if we can buy foods that are seasonal, even better. even better. So I know that imports and exports, we can get fruits all year round. But I would just honestly be aware of where is it coming from. That would be the biggest thing for me, because number one, I want to support local. And number two, I want to have as natural going into my body as possible. So I'm going to look for the foods that were grown and picked in the shortest amount of time. And so they weren't stored in big storage houses for years before it came to me. And
That's going to do you more harm than good.
yes. And it was a documentary that I watched on the food suppliers that supply food into New York. And it was an apple farmer that the apple orchard had been in the family for generations and generations. And this woman took over from her grandfather or the father, or so she inherited this farm. And the farm always supplied apples to New York. But she said, nowadays we've got to supply millions, whereas my grandfather only supplied so many. And she said, in the process of making sure that there's a correct supply, we pick these ones, they go into these storage units for a year. Then we release them into the market.
Wow, that's scary.
It's so scary. It's so scary, because when you think about your fruit should be able to decay. You know that it's good. If your fruit doesn't decay, it's like, where's that fruit been? What's it been treated with? What's it been treated with? So yeah, definitely we need to eat, as close to when it's been picked as possible. Yeah.
And I think the other thing that I'm quite worried about is when they start saying seedless fruits.
Oh, yes.
Because, I watched something a while ago as well. I don't even remember what it was, but it stayed with me. Fruits should have seeds in it. If you are buying seedless grapes, seedless stuff, they're not probably fruits. They have been, they've probably done something with it or grown it not, how they should have. So yeah, it is actually thinking about what we're putting into our body as well.
And
so just
by the way, the black seeds of fruit, that's where you get the black seed oil from. That gets rid of parasites and bacteria as well.
Pawpaw seeds, right?
Pawpaw seeds. We should be eating the seeds from the fruit. That's what we should be doing.
And no one tells you these things. Yeah. I actually learned this from my dad. I don't know where he learned it, but he told me we should be eating the seeds more than the fruit itself. But, yet people don't tell you these things.
No.
Wow. Yeah. I was going to just ask you one thing. So you just going back to water intake, because it's so important to hydrate, not just for our outer look, but inside hydration as well. So 1.5 liters of water is not enough, is it?
It's not enough, especially in summertime. Yeah, definitely not enough. You should be drinking anything from 2 to 3 liters in wintertime. And if you really want to detox your body, you could get up to 4 liters. And then when I'm doing a water fast, like if I'm not eating for a day, I do 5 liters of water. Now, I have had the people say to me, but I've been told that I'm going to flush all my minerals out. I'm drinking too much. I'm going to flush all my minerals out. I'm going, well, your body is so dehydrated. You've got no minerals in there. Your cells are like little prunes, little raisins. It's like you've got to plump those cells up with the water first. And then you might be able to hang on to some of those minerals. So I always find, because I've coached thousands and thousands of people online. And so it was like, how do I find out a way that I can tell them that their bodies are hydrated? So I have done this test with honestly thousands of people to find out whether your body is hydrated. You drink and you drink and you drink as much as you can during the day, as much as you can. I'm always, if you've got like a liter container, it's a good measuring tool. So you can take a liter and then pour glasses out of that if you want to, but make sure you fill that up 3 times a day. But if you drink and drink all day, then you sit on the side of your bed and you have 1 cup of water or herbal tea before you go to bed, right before you go to bed. Because herbal tea is very hydrating if it's pure herbs. You have that just before you go to bed, and you don't wake up to go to the toilet during the night. Then you're hydrated.
Wow, that's a really good tip.
So I'll tell you what's happened in the body. You've drunk and you've drunk all day. The body has flushed toxins all day. Now, when you're sleeping, it's your deepest healing. It's the time for your cells to do the most. If you have hydrated, they will have the hydration in them in order to do their job. If they haven't and they've still got to flush toxins, they're going to wake you up and you're going to go to the toilet in the middle of the night to get rid of your toxins.
Wow.
So if you're waking up in the middle of the night, that's a sign you're dehydrated. You need more water.
Wow. Because when we sleep, that's really when our body goes into a healing state, isn't it? That's why sleep is so important as well.
The deepest healing we can do is when we sleep. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. And so many people are having disturbance in their sleep. I know some is to do with ascension. They're waking up between 2 and 3, but other people are, it's just lifestyle. They can't switch off because they put their mobile phones in the room. They are watching TV right till they go to bed. So your brain's still going.
Yeah. I did this. It was exactly a year ago that my amazing dad passed away. 27th of November last year. I had the most beautiful time with him because he was still in South Africa. I managed to go and visit him, and I would climb into bed with him, and he would play game. Like it was like a word game where we had to fill in, the words. So when I left, it was like that was my connection to my dad. Was like, let me play this little word game before I go to bed, because I did that with my dad, so it was just that little connection. And then the word game, the advert came down and it turned into another game. And now this is like, I've never done this, but this is what happened December last year. And then all of these games, and then honestly, I was closing my eyes, and when my eyes were closed, all these things were coming down the screen in front of my eyes. And I was getting so disturbed that I actually couldn't rest. And I thought, oh, is that what our children are going through? Is that what people go through when they look at their phones before they go to bed? I couldn't switch off. And I thought, Dad, I'm going to rather pray. I'm going to talk to you. I'm not going to be on my phone. We have a lovely memory. We shared that together. But I honestly could not fall asleep because of all that stimulation, which I wasn't used to. And then all of a sudden I was doing it. So your body gets used to what you do, but it doesn't always respond really well, because you might be used to that and you go, it's okay, I can go to sleep, but you're not going into that deep sleep. You're not doing that deep healing, because
Yes, state, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because all of that is still in your awareness. It's still interfering. So yes, switch off an hour before you go to bed, and rather talk to your loved ones, read a book, do some journaling, have a bath. There's so much to do. You don't have to be on your phone. You really don't have to be on your phone or your TV before you go to bed. Yeah.
I actually used to do that. I would be in bed scrolling on Instagram, and like you said, the brain couldn't switch off. I actually started noticing, because I would sit on the Shein app and just go, and I would close my eyes and I would see red, orange, and all these colors just going past. And same thing happened to me. So I meditate now. Last thing I do is I meditate. And then I go to sleep. I hug Nishaya and Nick and I talk, and then we go to sleep. That's the nicest thing to do. So I'm so glad. I actually remember you told me, I think I met you just before you're going to South Africa to see your dad. And I know you have taken his last name this year as well. So what an honor to your dad.
Yes.
Yeah. I thought that just made me a bit emotional.
No, I feel closer, and I feel like he was a man that lived in nature. He loved nature. He taught me about health and wellness. Right. And so I'm getting emotional now. I'm living his legacy.
I know you are, and you're helping so many people in the process, Kerry. Kerry, I'm getting emotional too, because I know you've helped my little girl as well, and we need to have a catch up with you again. But when I saw you at the Abundance Workshop, I said to Nick, we need to get in touch with this lady, because you really reminded me of me. I mean, you've obviously done much more work than me, but that's how my journey started as well, because I was doing it for Nishaya and, vibrational frequencies and helping, healing. Yeah, so it's a beautiful journey to be on. And I think nothing is a coincidence. I do feel like sometimes we are allowed to go down these paths because there's a higher purpose for us. And maybe your purpose in this life was to bring hope to other people. Just like I know Nisha is here for a higher reason as well. So I think this is a beautiful place to end this conversation, even though I feel like you are just so knowledgeable and we can have you back again. So thank you, Kerry, for being here.
Thank you, Nalim, for actually doing what you're doing, Nelma. It's just absolutely amazing, sharing, the connections that you have with people and the knowledge out there. Because as you said, so many people are needing to hear all the things that you get to share. So well done for doing your work. Yeah,
Thank you so
I
much.
love your family. I love your family.
Thank you so much. I do believe Nisha's here for a higher purpose, and we are just the voice, but she's the one that's been leading us all along. So thank you for saying
I
that.
look at the three of you and I just feel like you're a unit. Like I just, you are such a beautiful, beautiful. So yes, I love what you've created with the three of you. So awesome.
Thank you so much. It honestly means a lot. Thank you so much for that. I would love to do this again with you later on next year. So we'll be in touch with that. But anyway, guys, I don't want to end this conversation, but we have to let Kerry go. So thank you guys for listening, and we will catch you up in the next episode. Look after yourself, and remember, if you believe it, then everything and anything is possible.